Hello, John Stewart here. Today I'm going to talk you through how you can find unlimited users or clients for your SaaS platform. Now, you've probably put a lot of effort into your SaaS platform. You've created a solution that genuinely works for a problem you know exists, and you've pumped loads of time and energy into this solution. The issue is now getting enough users to increase your monthly recurring revenue to whatever that goal is, whether it's 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, 50,000 a month. The issue then becomes visibility. No one knows you exist. So if no one knows you exist, how do you find the right people and explain to them that your solution is going to benefit them and they should at least give it a chance? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk you through 5 different ways you can find unlimited users for your SaaS platform. And I guarantee if you actually put what I say in this video into practice, you will see an increase in the amount of users and clients you have for your platform. And by all means, if you're watching the video and you think, well, I need a little bit more information on that, or this might be slightly different from my situation, how would it work for me? Leave a comment below and I will get back to you and help guide you through what it is you need to do. So first off, we're going to focus on B2C. B2B SaaS, don't worry, I'm going to get to you next. The best places you can find users early on is on Facebook. Now, when I say early on, don't get me wrong, we are going to move on to later. We're going to move on to methods that are automatic and scalable at the end. But to begin with, you're going to have to do things manually as a proof of concept to make sure you've got something that's actually going to work and something that people genuinely want to buy. So how can we utilize Facebook to acquire new users? Well, one of the best methods is to find communities of the people who are in your target audience. How do you find communities? Simple. You look for pages and you look for groups that are similar. So let's say, I use an example in our market research video. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. It's very, very useful at showing you everything you need to do to structure your market research for SaaS. But using the same example I used there, we've created this app that people sign up to. They take photos of miniatures and then it allows them to know what paints they require and all these different things, okay? For that example, we would find groups of people who are into painting miniatures. So we go to Warhammer groups, we go to miniature painting groups, we go to all these different places where the people who we know are interested in what we have created the solution for. Then, and this is a very, very important part, most people understand this is something they could do, but they go into the groups, they gain access, and then they immediately copy and paste the same thing into every single group, and that thing is usually simply just trying to sell their service immediately. And that doesn't go down well a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, you can do it and you might see some success. It depends on the type of community. Some people are more open to that, some people are less open to that. Page admins might shut those posts down immediately. What you can do in a more effective method is become part of that community. Spend time in each community. Comment with people in the community. Ask them about, you can use this again as another form of market research, ask them about, oh, have you checked out this app? It's really, really good. Would you be interested? What do you think is good about it? What do you think is not good about it? You can even ask people to test your app in these groups. This is very important. You need to become part of the community before you start taking from it. Most people just try and take immediately. So start commenting on other people's posts. Start posting things in there which aren't necessarily sales. The breakdown of content you should be posting, and this applies to anywhere, is 40% education, 40% entertainment, 20% promotion. Use that same breakdown for these groups. Don't always be promoting because people will go off you very, very, very quickly. But once you are part of the community and then you start to promote, you've got people behind you. People will start to say, hey, that's really good. They're more likely to engage with you because you haven't just gone in there and immediately tried to sell to them. You can also use the groups for very, very, very valuable feedback. Once you become part of one of these communities, by all means, post your platform in there. You can ask people to sign up and you can say, please can you give me feedback? And you will get really, really good feedback from these people. And you can ask them about anything, how they think you should sell the platform, where they'd be interested in finding out about the platform, whether they've been looking at it and they just didn't know if it existed or not. All this information you can also gain from there, so it has extra benefit. You can also direct outreach to people. So you can be in one of these groups, again, take part in the community first, and then once you see people who you think that person would probably benefit from my solution, feel free to direct message them. You are allowed to direct message people on Facebook. It goes into the request tab, so it's in a separate area, but quite a few people do check those requests, so you will get through to people, you will have conversations starting. When you do go in for that first chat, Remember to start the conversation by asking questions. Again, same principles apply. If you start and open up a conversation with someone in a direct message and you immediately copy paste something trying to sell and get them to sign up, probably not going to go down particularly well. Occasionally it will work, but not the best approach. What you want to do is say, hey, I've seen you in the group. Do you have any problems trying to figure out what paints you need to paint a miniature, using our same example? If they come back to you and say, yeah, that's always a problem, you can say, well, I've got a solution for that. If you want to try it, here it is. There's a free trial exclusive to members of this group, something like that. That's going to work way better, yet again, than just by going into a group and immediately trying to sell to people. Next up, this is for B2B, LinkedIn. It's pretty much the same in terms of principles to Facebook, but there are a few different things you can do, a few things you can do way more efficiently, and I'm going to talk you through all of that. Principally, it's the same. You're trying to find communities on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is traditionally where B2B communities hang out all day, and you're trying to build relationships with people. How do you start doing that? You start doing it in kind of the same way, but the approach is slightly different. Groups on LinkedIn are very, very, very rarely used, so ignore them completely is my advice. What you want to do is you want to search the hashtags related to your service. So for example, let's use SaaS as an example. We would search the SaaS hashtag and you'll see loads of people posting in there. Some people are quite big and already have a following. Some people are brand new. But what you want to do is you want to start commenting on other people's content. If someone is fairly big, then you want to catch the content they're posting early on. So if they have, say, 10,000 plus followers, you know that most of their content is going to get over 100 likes and have 50 odd comments. If it was posted within the last 10 minutes or so, it's still in its early days. You can comment something that is meaningful and that genuinely adds some value beneath, and that can then give you visibility off of their following. So do things like that within the industry you're looking at targeting, because it will start to get you known within that community. Don't get me wrong, this takes time. Every approach that you're doing manually, in fact, every approach for growth is going to take time. The only exception is ads, which we'll talk about at the end. Additionally, if through this process you come across people who you think would be ideal for your solution, add them as a connection on LinkedIn. Not everyone's going to accept, but some will, and the content you'll put out, which I'll talk about in a minute, can then be displayed to them, and essentially that's like adding them into your mailing list or funnel as an early funnel lead. That's one way on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn has additional functionality which allows you to go even further. So Sales Navigator is a very, very useful tool. You can use the search functionality within Sales Navigator to find the exact people you want to speak to. So that's, you pick an industry, you can pick the exact job title you want to speak to, and you can get a list of all those people. You can then look at their company pages, you can look at their personal profiles, and you can figure out if that's someone you want to reach out to. If it is someone you want to reach out to, you can apply the principles I've just talked about. You can go onto their profile, add them to a list, something like Pipedrive, and regularly comment on their activity, like their posts, etc., before you go in for a connection request or send them a message, so that when you do message them, they think, I know this person, they've been interacting with me for a little while now, say 2 weeks or so. And when you do reach out to them, make sure you offer them some value. So yet again, same principle, don't go in there immediately trying to sell. Ideally, you want to do a little bit of upfront value giving. So for a marketing agency, for example, you could check out their website and say, hey, we've seen your website, we think you could improve it in this way, X, Y, Z. Hope this helps you. That's an example for us. It's going to be very specific for your exact solution, obviously. Another thing you can do if you can't do any sort of that upfront value giving is simply ask questions. Hey, I've seen your content, been really interested in it. Is there any chance that you have any problems with the problem that it is you resolve? With a LinkedIn Sales Navigator Premium account, you can do this up to 20 times a week using InMail. However, if you target people who also have LinkedIn Premium, I think you can send up to 800 messages. It limits the type of people you can speak to, but does mean you can send a far larger volume of messages out. Next up is directories. There are directories for every type of industry. For SaaS, the obvious ones, Crunchbase is insanely useful, Product Hunt, Capterra, things like this. Those exist for every single type of industry. By using these directories, you're also probably going to be able to find things such as telephone numbers, because telephone numbers are often stored within directories. You can also go onto the website, and once you found the person you know you need to speak to, you can use tools such as hunter.io to get people's email addresses so you can then email them directly. One of the core things you should do when you're searching for new users, decision makers to speak to, is you want as many different methods of being able to get in contact with them as possible. So if you've identified someone on Facebook or on LinkedIn, LinkedIn, try calling them, try sending them an email, try contacting them on another social media platform. Different people will pick up your attempts at getting in contact with them in different ways. Next up is Google search. Let's say you've created a SaaS platform for gyms to use to manage their subscriptions. All you would do is you'd search for gyms in certain areas, create a list of different areas and just work your way through different searches. And then simply go onto the website and use the same principles I've talked about in terms of finding the telephone numbers, the business owners, and also using hunter.io to get email addresses. This can be quite a mundane task. You can offload this onto someone else. You can use things like Upwork or Fiverr to get other people to create lead lists for you. That's obviously whether you have the money to do that. If you don't have the money and have an excess of time, by all means do it yourself, but it is a lot easier if you get someone else to do it for you. And finally, and this is the most efficient method, but it requires you to be able to manually acquire users before using this method. The method is adverts. So adverts are a fantastic way to scale up. If you have something and you're able to sell it and acquire new users without using advertising, it's very easy to then switch to advertising and use the same principles, the same model you were using manually, and then automate sections of that process. What a lot of people do though, is they can't sell anything manually, so they try and pump money into it to make sales. And that doesn't tend to work. Occasionally it does, but most of the time it doesn't. The reason it doesn't is because they haven't found the secret sauce. They haven't found what clicks with people yet. They think if they just throw money at the problem, it'll resolve itself, and that's very rarely the case. But once you are ready to run ads, once you can acquire people through these manual lead generation and manual methods of client acquisition I've already listed, then by all means move on to adverts. In terms of what platform you should use for your exact situation, there are three I advise focusing on to begin with. The first one is for B2C, and that's Facebook. If you are B2C, Facebook ads are king. The next up is for B2B, LinkedIn. LinkedIn ads are fantastic for lead generation. They're not fantastic at getting people to immediately sign up for free demos and free trials. But if you've done things manually, you understand how lead generation works and you can just automate the first part of that process. Finally, it's Google PPC. Google PPC can be very effective, but you need to have high search volume, so it needs to be something that people are actively searching for, and it needs to be something that holds a lot of intent. And those are 5 ways you can find unlimited customers and clients for your SaaS platform. If you got to the end of this video and thinking, oh, I still don't know what to do, I guarantee you haven't taken the actions I've said in this video, because if you did, you would eventually find clients. The recipe for actually acquiring new users and new clients is simply to consistently put in the effort over a persistent and elongated period of time. That's the solution. Pick one of these methods, the one that suits you best, whether you're B2B or B2C, and simply execute over and over and over again until you start to see results. You may not see results for a period of time, that's entirely normal, but eventually you'll hit the tipping point and they'll start to roll in. Now, my company, Tech Growth Marketing, we work exclusively with SaaS and tech companies. We are currently offering free marketing strategy audits. Basically, we'll go through everything you're doing one-on-one and help you try and make it even more efficient or effective. If you're facing any roadblocks, we can also help you resolve those. Those free marketing strategy audits are entirely free. However, we have limited spaces available. They're available on a first come, first served basis, and you can apply via the link in the description below. Additionally, once you do apply for that, you will gain free access to a few different resources, our video marketing strategy guide, and also our 17 steps to rocket your marketing white paper, which is insanely effective. And we're also adding more to that all the time. So if you do apply and we don't get back to you, I'm genuinely sorry, but you will gain that free resource anyway, so it's worth applying regardless. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and I really hope it has helped you. I guarantee that if you actually execute on the things I've said today, you will see an increase in users. You just need to do it consistently over a period of time. That is it. If you're trying to grow your SaaS and you want more information to be able to help you, subscribe to this channel. All the content we put out there is purely designed to give you all the tools and information you need to be able to be successful with your SaaS platform. It really helps. I hope you have a good day and I'll speak to you again soon.